WPTV, this is News Channel 5 at 5.
A dad's emotion running over. His daughter, he says, merely taken.
She had to fight for her life. She fought. That's why they didn't get her.
Airport chaos, how misinformation led to panic during the Fort Lauderdale airport shooting, and what law enforcement learned from the experience.
California on fire, people missing and homes destroyed as dozens of fires burn out of control.
This is exclusive Chopper 5 video of Lake Okeechobee shot today. It's been more than a decade since the lake level has been as high as it now stands, 17.1 feet. The Army Corps of Engineers always fears that if the water keeps rising from a point like this, the dike that surrounds Lake O could begin to fail.
Governor Rick Scott toured the dike to see for himself the ongoing reconstruction project firsthand. News Channel 5's Tanya Rogers is live along the lake to show us the possible risk people who live nearby are now facing. Tanya?
Well, we can show you right here. You'll see Lake Okeechobee just beyond there. Then quickly go to this other side and you'll see a community. We want to show you just how close many of these people live to the lake. And that's why concerns have reached all the way to the state's capital.
Just started with a couple of succulents.
Jen Miller has lived in Clewiston for 6 years. She revels in the fact that she's so close to Lake Okeechobee, just a half-mile away.
It provides occupations, living for lots of people in this area. And it also is great for the farming industry. So we love it.
Miller knows some residents who are worried about the rising waters from Hurricane Irma, the runoff, and all the rain we've had lately. The Army Corps of Engineers reports the water level is 17.1 feet. The experts worry about the stability of the dike when the water gets to this point.
As the lake level continues to increase, we have some degree of concern, but we continue to conduct inspections of the dike.
While engineers began daily inspections of the dike today, the governor came to see for himself.
The most important thing we can do is make sure this thing gets funded.
Governor Rick Scott says if the dike is compromised, he will immediately order evacuations, just like emergency managers did in advance of Hurricane Irma. If the dike would fail, tens of thousands of people would be at risk.
We not only be prepared for these disasters that come our way, but we need to do what we can to make certain that the Herbert Hoover dike is repaired, because that's a disaster that doesn't have to happen.
Now, the Army Corps of Engineers says that they are inspecting the southern part of the dike daily and then weekly inspecting the northern end. Reporting live, Tanya Rogers, WPTV News Channel 5.
Tanya, thank you. Now to a developing story. Local police investigating a reported attempted abduction of a teenager while she was on her way to the bus stop. Detectives say the incident had happened this morning near Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Avenue O in Riviera Beach. That's where we find News Channel 5's Alyssa Hyman with new information about the vehicle involved. Alyssa?
Police tell me they have the tag number of the vehicle thought to be involved in this morning's incident. They were able, they tell me, to trace that tag number back to a vehicle reported stolen out of Boynton Beach. Meanwhile, the young girl's father tells me they want all parents to be on alert.
She had to fight for her life. She fought. That's why they didn't get her.
Riviera Beach father Herman McCrae is living through his worst kind of fear.
I immediately was like, this can't be happening.
He told police someone attacked his 16-year-old daughter on the way to the bus stop this morning.
And they go to the bus stop over here.
McCrae told me his daughter noticed a black truck speed by and then circle back around.
She immediately knew that trouble was about to occur.
3 women and a man inside.
She ran through this yard.
According to McCrae, the man jumped out and went after his daughter.
She got attacked right here in this spot right here.
But it was her determination to survive.
Because she fought. She had it in her.
That helped her get away.
We just want this to be solved, you know. We just want the streets to be protected.
McCrae says his daughter wasn't injured, but the danger isn't over, warning other parents that whoever's responsible is still out there.
You know, anything can happen at any time. I would have never expected that.
And police tell me the girl's backpack was also stolen in this morning's incident, so that is part of this investigation. Her father told me this afternoon that the backpack was recovered at an automotive shop this afternoon in Lake Park. Reporting live in Riviera Beach, Alyssa Hyman, WPTV News Channel 5.
The tropics are heating up again, with Tropical Storm Ophelia churning in the Atlantic, the 15th named storm, making 2017 the most active hurricane season since way back in 2005. With that, we go to Storm Team 5 Chief Meteorologist Steve Weigel, as always, tracking the tropics, Steve.
Yes, good news with this one. It's way off in the Atlantic, way out there, and it won't have any kind of impact on the U.S. East Coast. But it's really amazing to watch one letter after another knock down this hurricane season. So we're already to the letter O, and we just have 6 more before we run out of letters for this season. And if that happens, we go to the Greek alphabet, which we did do in 2005. All right, there's a look at the track for Ophelia. It is headed toward the east generally the next 4 to 5 days, so it is no threat to land. It is forecast, though, to become a hurricane as we get into about Wednesday or Thursday of this week. We do have some rain on the radar coming in from the Bahamas, some pretty good rains actually cutting across Palm Beach County, and more just off the coast. The Treasure Coast, not quite as active, but some rain possible there too through the evening. Just really spotty showers at this point. Bring an umbrella if you're headed out. I'll let you know what's in store through the weekend into the weekend coming up.
All right, Steve, thank you.
On the Gulf Coast, people spent the day cleaning up after Hurricane Nate. Thankfully, no major damage, but reports of some flooding and power outages. Many places back open today, even the hardest hit casinos like the Hard Rock Cafe in Biloxi, Mississippi. It reopened after the parking lot flooded early yesterday morning. Remnants of Nate are still producing, as you clearly see, surge and heavy rainfall as it moves up toward the northeast. Hurricane shutters slowed down firefighters this morning as they worked to rescue a man from a burning home in the acreage. Palm Beach County fire rescue crews were called to the scene after a neighbor saw smoke coming from the home on Banyan Boulevard. When crews arrived, they say they were forced to cut through those shutters. Once inside, they found one person. They were able to rescue them and rush them to a nearby hospital. Palm Beach County Fire Rescue Captain Albert Barato says hurricane shutters need to come down once a storm has passed.
So we can't stress enough the safety factor of please remove your shutters. Nobody wants to put them back up, but if there are no storms, remove them. It could mean the difference between life and death.
Quite literally, please heed that caution. The cause of the fire now under investigation.
Congresswoman Lois Frankel is vowing to file a bill in hopes of saving an Obama administration mandate when it comes to the birth control coverage. The Democratic lawmaker made the announcement at Planned Parenthood in West Palm Beach this morning. It comes in response to the Trump administration's new rules that would give employers more leeway to deny birth control coverage based on religious or moral grounds. It's a move prompted by a lawsuit by faith-based groups in Western Pennsylvania. They challenged the mandate before the U.S. Supreme Court. Frankel denounced the president's move, saying it undermines the affordable health care mandate that required all new private insurance plans cover birth control with no copay.
The bottom line is this: women have to be in charge of their own bodies. Their family planning has to be made themselves with the people they trust, not by their bosses and not by the government.
Frankel says this action will put the health of 62 million women at risk.
It's been a week since a gunman opened fire into a crowd of thousands at a country concert in Las Vegas. This evening, a growing memorial for the 58 people killed and the hundreds others injured in what is the worst mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Investigators have more questions, many more, than answers into why Stephen Paddock, 64 years old, went on the killing spree. This despite the fact that authorities have searched Paddock's home Sunday, re-interviewed his girlfriend, chased down hundreds of other leads thus far. What we do know now is one of the victims has hired an attorney and is looking to freeze the gunman's assets. 9.5 months after the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport shooting, a new report highlights the lessons learned for law enforcement. There was a lot of chaos that day. I was one of the first on the scene, and there were reports of another shooter. Not true. We were tamping down those reports, but it's the kind of chaos that can happen on a scene like that. I saw it firsthand. Well, the Broward County Sheriff's Office released its review of the response to an active shooter. News Channel 5's Michelle Casada joins us live with what police admit complicated the response and prolonged securing the airport long after the threat was over. Michelle.
Well, Michael, we learned through this report that Esteban Santiago was paged by Delta at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport to pick up his firearm at baggage claim. Moments later, he loaded it in the bathroom and opened fire in the baggage claim area. Now, the Broward County Sheriff's Office report emphasizes that deputies found and arrested Santiago quickly, but a series of unexpected issues led to pandemonium 90 minutes later. Esteban Santiago surrendered his gun to police moments after killing 5 people and wounding 6 at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. The Broward County Sheriff's Office says this senseless tragedy was over in 85 seconds, but panic and pandemonium continued.
So do you know where the shooter is? Is it in our terminal?
No, we don't. We've got it both from terminal 1, 3, and 2. All we've had multiple calls.
Passengers flooded 911 with calls after hearing over police radio transmissions that shots were fired. The Broward County Sheriff's report said an hour and a half into the incident, a Customs and Border Protection officer thought he heard gunshots and told a fire captain, who then reported it over radio transmissions. The words "shots fired" spread like wildfire.
All of the passengers from all of the gates are now going outside. We're all on the tarmac.
Toning down the radios, going to earpieces for their officers as opposed to broadcasting so it's audible would probably have alleviated some of it, but not all of it.
Former Police Chief Andrew Scott said it's not surprising the misinformation led to an overwhelming response of police officers heavily armed.
And until that's verified, the police have to act as if there's another shooter.
New at 6, what caused the delay of buses getting transportation for those passengers who were being taken to an off-site location? And also coming up at 6, what the Broward Sheriff is asking of the Palm Beach County Sheriff and other agencies that responded. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, Michelle Casada, WPTV News Channel 5.
The citrus industry in our area facing a series of setbacks. What's being done to try to overcome all of it?
This is something that I see on TV, but now I'm in it.
Wine country on fire. Homes destroyed. Thousands forced to evacuate as dozens of fires burn out of control in California.
A wish come true. A young girl who's had countless surgeries spends the day fulfilling her dream.
And Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Steve Weigel has your most accurate weather forecast in just minutes.
This is News Channel 5 at 5. Thanks for making WPTV your #1 most trusted news source.
Wishes come in all shapes and all sizes, and for nearly 40 years, the Make-A-Wish Foundation goal is to make whatever a child's wish happens to be come true.
And they're really good at that goal. And today, News Channel 5's Stephanie Susskind watched as a little girl's wish to be a mermaid came true. Stephanie?
Yeah, guys, well, this is 6-year-old Anna walking out to the beach today. She's from Pennsylvania, and in her short life already, she's been through more surgeries than anyone should have to go through in a lifetime. But this week, she's worry-free. She came down here to Florida, to Boca Raton specifically, for her wish to come true, to become a mermaid. And we got to help make the second part of her wish come true.
Maybe I see one. I see one over there. I think so. Oh my God. I see them. Let's go visit.
With mermaids in her view, this little body that's undergone almost a dozen surgeries propelled Anna Kuhn as fast as it could.
Whoa! Mommy!
It's amazing. If you knew how far she's come from, you know, how sick she's been, to this healthy 6-year-old who just wants to run around and swim with mermaids, it's all inspiring, actually.
Anna was born with 2 congenital heart defects, but her parents say she doesn't let that slow her down. They call this experience overwhelming, as the Make-A-Wish Foundation granted Anna's wish to become a mermaid.
I'm just like you. Yeah, you are.
I'm speechless, honestly. She amazes us every day with just her ability to bounce back from everything and just to continue to be a normal kid.
Once she learned the mermaid ways, it was on to the next part of the wish, to become the mermaid newscaster.
We're ready.
Okay, you ready? Okay, Anna, this is your turn to be a newscaster, okay?
Ooh. Here's my first question for you. Okay. What music do you like?
We listen to music that you listen to.
What?
Yeah.
Can you dance with your tail?
Yeah, we can.
Wow.
But this day is about more than mermaids. It's bringing a family together.
Usually we have to save our, vacation time for just in case hospital or if she gets sick. So this has meant that we actually have our first real family vacation where it's just us.
A wish come true for all 3.
We get to be a family and not have to worry and we can just enjoy each other and enjoy our child. So it's appreciated.
And what a beautiful day it was. Now, Anna will require more surgeries as she continues to grow and will need to be monitored for her lifetime, but she is doing well and thriving. And you know, Anna and her family, it's not just about today. They are staying at the Boca Beach Club Resort until Friday. They have a full itinerary planned just for them, so certainly a special week.
To see her eyes light up like that, running towards the mermaid, I mean, what a special moment.
It was truly incredible. As her mom said, awe-inspiring for all of us watching her. She was so excited.
And to all the big hearts that Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
They're wonderful people. The only thing bigger than the sun today was that big smile on her face.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing us her story. It made my day.
Me too.
Mine too.
Stephanie, thank you. All right, on to a consumer alert tonight. The Florida Lottery warning you of a new scam involving the Mega Millions. Take a look at your screen. Lottery officials say scammers are sending emails like the one you see, indicating you were randomly selected to participate in ongoing Mega Million drawings. You're then asked to provide personal information in order to participate. The Florida Lottery advising that you do not respond to the emails and that if you haven't purchased a Mega Millions ticket, you just can't win a prize.
At least one person is dead, 2 others injured in wildfires burning in Northern California. 1,500 homes destroyed, thousands of people forced to evacuate as 14 wildfires burn out of control in Napa and Sonoma counties. 2 hospitals also evacuated patients, and schools are closed as powerful winds help fuel the fires. Power outages are widespread, people forced into shelters as a state of emergency is declared. Fire officials say a number of people have been injured and a number of others are missing. Right now, firefighters are concentrating on saving lives rather than battling the blazes. Fires also popping up in Southern California. Homes could be seen burning in Anaheim. The month of October, typically the most dangerous time for fires in California. Well, from fire to ice, snow began falling in Denver. Not officially the first day for snow. At least 1 inch must fall at the Denver International Airport to be called a snow day. That won't happen. Forecasters say 50% of the snow that fell will melt because the ground is still so warm.
A very different picture than what we are experiencing here, that's for sure.
Wild weather everywhere.
It is.
Our fingers crossed for everybody in California.
Absolutely. Heart breaks for those out there. I mean, it's so unexpected, I think, too. So quickly.
Steve, we just keep counting them up. You're going to run out of calculator numbers with this hurricane season.
15? Is that what it is?
I have no idea. I mean, whatever it just is.
Steve's eyes look like radars now. That's all you've stared at since June.
We have 6 more names to go through, and then if we run out of names for this year's hurricane season, we go to the Greek alphabet, which we did actually in 2005.
Oh, wow.
We're already at the letter O, and Ophelia is forecast to become a hurricane by Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll show you the track of that in a second. You can see some rain on the radar this afternoon coming in along the coastline. Quick moving showers, a little heavier rain actually right off Palm Beach. This will roll right down to Okeechobee Boulevard. Rain all the way up into the gardens, all the way down into Boca and Delray, a little bit more off the coastline. So it is a soggy evening commute for almost everyone in Palm Beach County. The Treasure Coast, just spotty showers and not quite as busy. All that rain fired up over the Bahamas earlier. So we'll keep a shower or 2 in through about mid-evening and then clearing after that. The computer models show that it won't be widespread rainfall, but definitely enough to get the ground wet. And we could see a morning shower, but again on Tuesday, the best chance for rainfall will be in the afternoon. All right, what's going on in the tropics? 2 things I want to mention here. There's Ophelia way off in the Atlantic. We have a little low that's trying to get going right here. It's a tropical wave all kind of tied all the way down in toward Puerto Rico, bringing some rainfall too. You can see a little bit of a spin there as it rolls through. I'll show you more of that in just a second. It looks like it may be a player in our weekend weather. Here's a look at Ophelia. And this storm, as I said, forecast to become a hurricane, but it is moving the other direction. It is moving toward the east generally in the next 4 to 5 days. So it is no threat to land, at least not in the next week. We'll keep an eye on it, but obviously it is way out there and it's no threat to Florida. For us, there's a front way back to the west, but what we'll have to keep our eyes on is this tropical wave. Doesn't arrive until later in the week, and in the Bahamas about Friday. More pleasant weather for Tuesday and Wednesday. There's that little low. Some of the models want to get a surface low going. Most want to keep it fairly weak, but it will be a player in our weather. It will bring us higher rain chances for Saturday and Sunday. and that's why we see a little bit of a bump in the rain chances for late in the week. And it could develop into a depression. We'll keep an eye on it, but at this point is expected to stay weak and just enhance the chances for some rain. All right, choppy for boaters, especially in the afternoon. Seas about 2 to 4. We'll get some gusty afternoon winds about 20 miles an hour. All right, 79 overnight. Little coastal breeze, and that rain's going to be around for the next hour or two. It is kind of hit or miss rain up and down the coastline of Palm Beach County, not as widespread in the Treasure Coast. Tomorrow, carbon copy, same weather situation, 89 and partly sunny with those afternoon and early evening showers. Wednesday and Thursday, again, not much of a change. A little high rain chance for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, depending on the future track of that tropical wave. Looks like scattered, maybe even numerous showers and storms both weekend days, mixed in with a little sunshine too.
All right, Steve, thank you. Well, he was such a famous scam artist, they made a movie about him. The warning he now has to protect you from thieves.
And how one Nobel Prize winner plans to spend his $1 million prize.
A fire on the tarmac caused an LA-bound flight from Hong Kong to be canceled. Airport workers say a container that was being loaded into the cargo bay suddenly caught fire. You can see the smoke billowing there. Luckily, no passengers or crew on board the aircraft at the time. One worker received non-life-threatening injuries. American Airlines is investigating to find what caused that fire. Well, police in Baltimore say they have made an arrest. And it was this man after he jumped on top of this school bus in an apparent case of road rage. It all happened last Thursday afternoon. Police say the man was trying to get on the bus after he says a bottle thrown from the bus hit his car. He is now facing several charges, including disorderly conduct and destruction of property. A new law in Tonawanda, New York will hold parents accountable for their kids' bullying. This all comes after a group of teens were kicked out of middle school for harassing others. With the new law, parents of children under 18 who are bullying others could be fined $250, 15 days in jail, or in some cases, both.
An American economist is awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics. Richard Thaler awarded the prize for his contributions to behavioral economics and his research on how human traits affect individual decisions, as well as financial markets. You know, I love that stock one day, I hate it the next, I bought it then, sold it then. Well, he researches what makes us do that. In addition to the prestige of being a Nobel recipient, Thaler will also be awarded a $1.1 million prize. And when asked what he would do with the money, Thaler said he would use it in ways consistent with his research. He went on to say he'll try to spend the money as irrationally as possible, much like a lot of our financial decisions.
Yeah, getting inside our minds, a pretty cool view for sure.
I wonder if he'll spend it quite that irrationally. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough. All right, coming up all new at 5:30, one of our area's biggest businesses is facing a series of struggles. What they're doing to try to make their business thrive again. Plus, how much money are you planning to spend on Halloween? Is it less or more than shoppers will spend in this record-breaking year? And it's the new way to hack your computer. What they're doing that makes it so frightening? Those stories and more with Shannon Cake at 5:30.